It's unboxing time. You know what these fabulous swirls mean. New projects from Cotton Cuts. So I jumped in on the Floral States of America Block of the Month program, and this is the first package. It's so exciting. I've got a beautiful map here to track the progress. It shows you all of the fabrics that are included in this new line called Floral States of America. And we've got a block of the month instruction card with a coloring diagram. So that's a lot of fun. And they even include a cute little box of colored pencils. So this will be really fun to color in my map and think about some hourglass blocks for June. Okay, promo coming soon, Wild West. I'm so excited about these cards, these pattern pieces and collections that Cotton Cuts has put together for us for the 50 states. Let's take a closer look at what's included. Okay, we are going to put these blocks together in the order in which the states were admitted to the Union. So we've got Delaware, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Georgia, and Connecticut. And look at these fun cards that they are packaging here for us. Let me open up Connecticut here. And they're just fun trivia and learning opportunities. Connecticut is the Constitution state, and I am a history buff, government teacher, former government teacher, and so this would be great for all those teachers. Have a fun sewing project to look forward to and use these resources in your classroom. There are some facts about each state on the back of the card, and they're even including a quilt shop to visit. So I can't wait to take this on the road. The patterns from Cotton Cuts are all pre-cut kits. So we have our fabrics and we have a black and white diagram that shows us how to put this together. So this is going to be so quick and easy. I'm going to do some sewing off camera and I'll come back and show you the finished blocks. Starting us off is Delaware, the first state, with their flower, the peach blossom. Then we have Pennsylvania, the Keystone State, with a state flower of mountain laurel. New Jersey is next as the Garden State. Their flower is a violet. Georgia is next, known as the Peach State, and their flower is Cherokee Rose. And we round out this month with Connecticut, the Constitution State, and they also use the mountain laurel as their state flower. And you'll notice I had an oops. I was missing one triangle from the pre-cut pieces. So that's an easy fix. I just reached out to Cotton Cuts support and they have more fabric on the way. Part 2 of my collection here is the fabric panel for Floral States of America. And I love a map. So I've got the entire panel here that shows the Floral States of America. It's the map of the United States with their state flowers. I have to point out my home state here of Arizona with its saguaro cactus, which is blooming right now. So it's a lot of fun to see those crowns of flowers on the top of those really majestic cacti. And I haven't decided yet if I'm going to make this a standalone quilt, but I think I'm going to save it and use it on the back of my 50 states quilt. Okay, I have been to quite a few states. Let's explore this list together, and then I will leave a link and you can share with me your own travels. So, as a child, where have I lived? I, let's see, my brother was born in Florida. So that was the first place I lived. I was actually born overseas to an Air Force family. So that Florida was the first place we lived when we came back to the United States. And then we moved to California. And then we moved to Nevada. Then I went to high school in Pennsylvania. And we spent some time in Washington, D.C., which is not listed, but actually our address was Virginia. My dad commuted into the city to the Pentagon. And then finally, we moved out to Arizona, where my parents retired. So that's 6 states, as you know, by the time I was 18. And then I went to college in Colorado and began my own Air Force career with some training in Texas. And then I moved up to South Dakota and then went to Idaho. And that was it for my Air Force career. And then I moved home to Arizona. So that is where I have lived. So these are all the states I've lived in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 states that I have lived in for a year at least. So let's think about all the places that I have visited. My grandparents lived in, they had a beach house in Alabama. So I visited there. I have been to Hawaii. My daughter had a camp in Michigan, summer camp. So we spent some time there. My brother lives in Minnesota. We took some trips to Myrtle Beach. I'm going to have to look if is that North or South Carolina. But either way, I also did some college trips to, looking at colleges. I love North Carolina basketball. And so we visited down there. I've visited New Mexico. Friends live there. I visited New York City, so we can cross that off the list. We spent a night in Seattle, Washington. We were on our way to a vacation in Canada, so I've been in Washington. My college roommate lived in Delaware, and I visited her there. What else? Let's go on down the list. I visited Illinois, Chicago for a conference. Let's see. I'm not going to count it. I've driven through Wyoming several times, obviously, going from Colorado and South Dakota home to Arizona. and we've driven across the United States to get from Pennsylvania and Washington, D.C. out to Arizona. I am just trying to think. I don't think I've spent any significant time in some of these other places. My cousins were born and raised in Maine, so we did take some vacations to see them there. And I've gone on lots of ski trips to Utah, so I will count that. I've driven through, and there may have been some vacations to some of these other places. I am going to count Maryland because Washington, D.C., we took lots of day trips to Baltimore and visited Annapolis and that kind of thing. So we will count those. Like I said, I've probably driven through corners of Oklahoma and Georgia. I've flown into Atlanta and driven, down to Florida from Georgia. So I could possibly count those, but I don't feel like it's 100% accurate. So I'm not going to count any more of those. But yeah, that gives you a good idea of where, how well traveled. I need to get down, get into the Midwest and region of the state, some of the corners, Oregon on the West Coast and Vermont, Connecticut. I need to get a little more into the South with Tennessee and Arkansas. And definitely my dream is to cruise to Alaska. So that's how I want to check that state off of the list. But I love the United States and the variety of people and places and, national parks and all that kind of stuff. And I think it's so fun to do these little tracking exercises. So I'm going to put a few links in the description of some fun maps that I found on Amazon that you can scratch off, you can add pictures to. There's all sorts of fun ways to document your travels other than just a, checklist that I've shown you here on the screen. But if you play along, take a screenshot, share it on social media, and tag True Blue Quilts. I'd love to hear about all of your travels. So I'm setting aside the panel for now, but if you need some ideas about how to turn a narrow panel into a full-size quilt, watch this video next.